കനേഡിയൻ മല്ലുവിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവർക്കും സ്വാഗതം. ഡിസ്കവറി വൈൽഡ് ലൈഫ് പാർക്കിലെ കരടി പ്രദർശനത്തിലേക്ക് നമ്മൾ പോവുകയാണ്. കരടിയുടെ വിവിധ ചേഷ്ടകൾ നമുക്ക് നോക്കാം എങ്ങനെയുണ്ടെന്ന്. എല്ലാവരും മറക്കാതെ കാണുക. ആദ്യമായി കാണുന്നവർ ദയവായി സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ ലൈക്ക് ചെയ്യുക, ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക. പ്രദർശനം നടക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പായിട്ട് ആമുഖം എന്ന വണ്ണം ഇവിടെ പല സുവനീറുകളും വിൽക്കുന്നുണ്ട്. കരടികളുടെ പടം, അതുപോലെ തന്നെ കീ ചെയിന്, അതുപോലെയുള്ള കാര്യങ്ങളെക്കുറിച്ച് ഇവിടുത്തെ ഗൈഡ് അത് വിസ്തരിക്കുകയാണ്. അത് അവർ വിസ്തരിച്ചതിന് ശേഷം നമുക്ക് കരടിയുടെ പ്രദർശനത്തിലേക്ക് കിടക്കുന്നതാണ്. അതുപോലെ അകത്തേക്ക് പോകുന്ന റൂൾസ് എങ്ങനെയാണ് എന്നുള്ളതൊക്കെ വളരെ വിശദമായിട്ട് ഇവർ പറയും. അതുപോലെയുള്ള സേഫ്റ്റി ഗൈഡ് ലൈൻസ് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ്, നമ്മൾ കോവിഡ് സമയത്ത് എന്തൊക്കെയാണ് പാലിക്കേണ്ടത്, ഇതൊക്കെ അവർ വിശദമായിട്ട് പറയുന്നതാണ്.
Conservation, and so that is what our presentation will primarily be focused on today, as a lot of us are unaware of the negative impact that we do have on wildlife. This is extremely important as all of the black bears here at the park have been orphaned due to some form of human conflict. Partner bear presentation.
ചാർലി എന്ന് പറയുന്ന 19 വയസ്സുള്ള കരടി കഴിഞ്ഞ വർഷം മരിച്ചുപോയി. ഇത് മൃഗങ്ങളോടുള്ള അവരുടെ അടുപ്പ് എത്രത്തോളം ഉണ്ടെന്നുള്ളത് നമുക്ക് കാണാം. പലപ്പോഴും ഇത് വിതുമ്പുന്നുണ്ട്.
For anybody that's been here before, normally
she's upset. Come on. I think, yeah, there'll be animal too.
Normally there would be a bear right here. This was gently. Winter. It's a natural causes, old age, renal failure. And we just moved his sister back in. They were a set of triplets. So this is Angel. That's Honey. Angel for the last 4 years has been living next door with Gruff. And we thought for the ease of the bear presentation it would be so much easier to have the two girls over here together. But of course, like all sisters are, they decided they're going to have scrapping time. Apparently one does not want to talk to the other, so if you notice, that's where Honey is at, and she doesn't want to come fill Charlie's shoes. They were really big shoes. Charlie was Old Faithful. He was 19 years old in any bear presentation. He was amazing. He was a neutered male, so we didn't have to deal with breeding season. We didn't have to deal with anything. And he was one of my best friends on earth. So, that being said, let's move on. Like I said, these two were a set of triplets. Angel is just as sweet. Angel is a little bit of a sassy pants. In the bear world, we say she has little bear syndrome. Angel doesn't like to learn. Angel thinks looks is all you have to rely on in life. Trust me, that doesn't get you very far, does it? No, it doesn't get you very far. But she is an absolute sweetheart, and she's going to hold her own today because, well, that's who's here. So that being said, we are going to give you folks a bunch of bear safety information so that if you are ever traveling out in bear country, you will know how to behave, or hopefully will by the time we're done. We'll give you a bear safety quiz to see how well you would all make out. And then to top it all off, at the end of the presentation, we're going to introduce you to Trouble 1 and Trouble 2, Boss and Piper. And of course, this is their very first bear presentation, so it's all new to them as well. So really important things that you need to know if you are ever traveling out in bear country. Safety in numbers. 7 or more people have never had a bad bear encounter. We believe because 7 or more people make enough noise. So you want to make lots of noise. Bear bells, not loud enough. You need loud, sharp sounds so that those bears do hear you coming. Honestly, even something like a can of rocks is a better sound than bear bells. Bears' noses are unbelievable. They can smell 20 times better than the average dog and 2,100 times better than us people. So it's always important to remember anytime you are out in bear country, anything that has an odor could attract a bear. Be very aware of how you are storing any food products because they do smell. So coolers are not bear proof. In fact, Jacob does have an example of what a bear proof container looks like that he'll show you. And making sure to conceal the smell of anything that you have. Even think about makeups, perfumes, deodorants. All of that is very, very important. Bears are unbelievably agile. They can actually run 55 kilometers an hour in 2 jumps, faster than an Olympic sprinter. Bears don't just run uphill, they run downhill just as well. They can scale a tree just as quickly. It doesn't matter if it's a black bear or a brown bear. They can all climb trees. And, thank you, honey. Or Angel. Ooh, wrong bear. I'm not used to you being over here. So it doesn't matter if you're running, climbing, downhill, uphill, bears 55 kilometers an hour. And in fact, when you do run and scream in front of a large carnivore, you turn into prey. Which means when you run and scream in front of a bear, you look like a big juicy hot dog and they want to eat you. So under no circumstance is it ever a good idea to run in front of bears. When you are camping, like I said, always be aware of those foods. Little things to keep in mind: definitely do not tinkle where you tent. Those are full of pheromones, can attract bears as well. Storing food, like we mentioned, is another really important one. And dogs. If you're going to take dogs in with you to bear country, it's really important to remember to keep them on a leash. Dogs are notorious for going out, ticking off wild bears, and then bringing them back to us humans to deal with that situation. So not a good idea as well. Do you want to look cute? Why don't you say hi? That's a great way to start the day.
Good.
Thank you, Angel. So not only does every bear have a personality and is very unique, very important to remember, bears have something called a critical space or a critical space line. It's quite hard to explain because they are so individual and unique, but it's kind of like if you told somebody, you come over here, I'm going to beat you up. That line exists for bears as well, but we never know where it actually is. So it's best to assume if you could see a bear, you could be in their critical space. Always give them that distance. Us humans are notorious for habituating wildlife. Something as simple as stopping on the side of the highway. If you stop very briefly and continue moving, it might not be the end of the world. But when we stay there, again, their noses are spectacular. They smell us humans in those vehicles, and they associate it with all the other amazing smells coming out of our vehicles. There's all sorts of us in there, but most vehicles have either air fresheners or foods. So keep moving along. Let the wild bears just be wild. And no matter what, never ever feed a wild bear. As you can see, they are very intelligent animals, learn very, very easily, and in the wild we do the same negative thing to them. So please, if you learn anything today, let wild bears be wild. Also, in Alberta, we have two different species of bears. We have the North American black bear, like Angel, and we do have the grizzly bear. And it can truly save your life to know the difference between the two different species at a glance and in shape alone. Color and size mean absolutely nothing. So for example, you see how little this bear looks? Maybe she doesn't look little to you. Angel's the littlest black bear we have on the property. She actually weighs more than our largest brown bear. It doesn't matter the species, they're like us humans. We come itty bitty and we come great big huge. So size means nothing. How we do tell them apart is, can you stand up and we'll show them? With a black bear, straight nose to forehead. Notice where her ears are positioned on her skull. They're larger in proportion to her body. How straight she is across her shoulders. She has very short, even fur. It looks like she's had a haircut her whole life, but black bears just have very short, even fur. And Angel, can you turn this way? Like all black bears, has very short, curved, sharp climbing claws. Can we show them those claws? Can I just have this for a sec? Move the hair. See how they wrap beautifully around my little finger there? Short, curved, sharp climbing claws. Now we will profile what the brown bear or grizzly looks like when we move up to one. But before we do that, one of the most important reasons why we do train the animals here at the park is for their own medical benefit.
His mother was actually poached, and he was taken in and passed around from home to home for a period of about 7 days. Now, as you can imagine, that is extremely stressful, especially on a baby bear. And when he came to us, we were actually worried that he may pass away from something called capture myopathy. Two great big words that mean levels of stress that can be toxic on baby bears, especially when they are brought into an area of captivity from the wild like that. And in fact, with him specifically, he couldn't even be on public display for almost 2 years because people were such big scary monsters. But as you can see now, with a lot of training and a lot of love, he's become one of, if not the most trained bears on the property. He's gonna wave and say hi to everyone, and he's gonna do a ton of fun things for all of us while we do a bear safety quiz. So if you know the answers to my questions, feel free just to shout them out. Let's say we're out on a hike and off in the distance we see a bear, kind of like Angel minding her own business, doing her own thing. What should we do? Leave them alone. That's the only one I heard. I heard a bunch of sound, but not actual words. You just want to leave them alone. Let the bear be a bear. We're going to turn around and go back the way that we came. But what if the bear way over there does this? So you have a bear standing up just like that, but way over there. Now he might not be with his mouth open like Gruff is, but he is standing. And why might that bear be doing that?
Because they smell you. Because they're angry.
Yeah, it's an information-seeking stance. The bear over there is trying to see, hear, or smell you a little better and figure out if you're something it should chase after and eat for its lunch, or something it should turn around and run away from. Now, there are a few things that we can do to tell the bear we don't want to be lunch today. What are some of those things? What do we think they might be? Yeah, we want to make ourselves look big. We're much more intimidating when we look big. Any more? We could say "aww," but only if it's really loud. We want to use a loud monotone voice. The difference between us and other animals is that voice. And we want to keep in mind that critical space line, so we want to back away slowly. We don't know where that bear's critical space is, so best to assume we aren't too close. If you did a combination of those three things, you would tell the bear that you're a human, and chances are they are going to turn around and skedaddle because they don't want to be in our space as much as we don't want to be in their space. But let's say you've come across a grizzly bear on the path, and that bear is mad, doing things like bluff charging, hitting the ground in front of it, screaming, chomping its jaws, lowering its head, pinning its ears. We know that bear is upset, so what are we going to do about a cranky grizzly bear on the path?
I'm guessing make a sound.
Not just yet. So with brown bears specifically, they are more of a fight. Sorry, not flight. They're more of a fight, and so specifically with them, we don't want to get loud and aggressive because they're going to get loud and aggressive back. We also don't want to back away slowly because they're going to keep coming forwards. So we actually want to stand our ground. Don't stare that bear in the eye. That will be a threat or a challenge, and this is where we like to mention bear spray. You would get it out, uncap it, and be prepared to use it if that bear does advance. Bear spray has a 30-foot range forward, a 5-foot fog on the end. Saw it a little bit earlier. He stands up, he opens his mouth, and he... Well, this is where you would typically expect them to roar, right? No sound. That's because bears don't actually roar. It is not a vocalization that they can make. That sound in movies is typically just dubbed in. They make a ton of other vocalizations. Roaring isn't one of them. And in fact, true bear aggression is not what you saw there, a bear standing up with its mouth open. That is an information-seeking stance when they're standing up like that. Typically, you'd only see it if two males are standing up and fighting. They might have their mouths open, but they wouldn't be vocalizing the way that you see it in the movies. It's all...
നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയിൽ കണ്ടുവരുന്ന ഗ്രിസ്ലി ബെയറുകളാണ് ഇതിൻ്റെ പേര് ബെർക്ക്ലി എന്നാണ്. ഇത് ഡിസ്കവറി വൈൽഡ് ലൈഫിലെ ഒരു പ്രത്യേക അട്രാക്ഷനാണ്. നിങ്ങളിവിടെ വരികയാണെങ്കിൽ അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിങ്ങൾക്ക് കാണാൻ സാധിക്കും. ഇതിനെ വെച്ചാണ് അടുത്ത പ്രസൻറ്റേഷൻ ഇവർ ചെയ്യാൻ പോകുന്നത്. ഇത് ബ്രൗൺ നിറമുള്ളതും അതിൻ്റെ പ്രത്യേകത എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞു കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ നോർത്ത് അമേരിക്കയിലാണ് ഇത് കൂടുതൽ കണ്ടുവരുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ സ്കിപ്പ് ചെയ്യാതെ ഇനിയുള്ള ഭാഗങ്ങൾ കാണുക.
Alright everyone, this is Berkeley. For anyone that doesn't know her, she is a 4-year-old brown bear as well. We talked about the difference between the black bear and the grizzly bear at a glance and its shape alone. Again, the color and size mean absolutely nothing. So Angel actually weighs more than Berkeley. Berkeley has longer legs, so don't tell Angel. We also talked about color means nothing. I didn't get very specific with the black bears. Black bear is a kind of bear, not a color. So not only can black bears be black, they can be white or blonde, they can be brown or cinnamon or all the colors in between. A grizzly can also be white. They can be almost black in color and all the beautiful browns and cinnamons in between. And in fact, if you notice how dark Berkeley's lower extremities are, all the way to the beautiful blonde up on her ears, she just thought she'd be a rainbow bear to help make the point. The other things that we need to look at when we are telling the difference. If you notice how Berkeley in her forehead has a dip or an indentation, where the black bears were very straight, Her ears are significantly smaller in proportion to her body, and they are different on her skull. She has, can you say hi and show them your long, straight, blunt digging claws? There they are, good girl. Long, straight, blunt digging claws. And when Berkeley stands up in just a second, you're going to notice she has the great, big, huge hump on her shoulder. The PA, Bert, thank you. Big hump on her shoulders where the black bears are very straight. Now, if you're wondering what Berkeley is doing, she is sucking on my fingers. That's a doodle. This is why Berkeley got the nickname Doodles, because she takes all my doodles away from me. I am still mom to Berkeley, and we do always typically have snuggle time before we do any real work. I know, and I smell like those weird other bears. Who put those smells on me? Hey, Berkeley? You may notice, actually, Boss and Piper might do it. They might make a cooing type sound when they suck. Berkeley still does sometimes, but not as often. But it's very happy, content sound. Thank you. She's doing it. You guys can't hear it because it's really quiet. Can you guys kind of hear that? That's a happy, content sound. Anyways, that is how we tell the difference between a black bear and a grizzly bear. Do you think we could do some work now? Can you say hi again to everybody? Good girl, Bert. I don't think you eat these. Try it. Don't spit it out. I'm impressed. That went down the hat. Bears do. This is what wild bears do to bust into stuff. Berkeley's using on watermelons. With a brown bear, like Jacob was saying in the bear safety quiz too, they will bluff charge you. That is similar to what a bluff charge would look like, but it would be 1,000 times faster. They'd probably run at you, do that, and maybe even do some swiping. Can you just do some swiping? Now, speed that up like warp speed. And of course, Berkeley has to scary bear, but that's just so that we can check your teeth, because you're not really that scary. Yeah, I know those teeth aren't stinky, Berkeley. Can you show everybody how you hold your toes? Do you got all the toes to hold? All of them. Are your toes stinky too? Everything's stinky to bears because they can smell so much better than us humans. I think Jacob might actually pull off better sit-ups than you just did. Alright, thank you for holding me. I was going to fall over. Can I have a high five? Yep, still the PA. Can I have a high five? Sit up. High five? Good. She's like, and I'll snuggle now, Mom. So that is Little Miss Berkeley.
ഇനി നമ്മൾ കാണാൻ പോകുന്നത് ബോസും പൈപ്പറും എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞ രണ്ട് കുട്ടി കരടികളാണ്. ഇവരെ US നിന്ന് ഇവർ ഈ കഴിഞ്ഞ വർഷം കൊണ്ടുവന്നുള്ളൂ. ഇവരുടെ ഓരോ കുസൃതികൾ കാണാൻ വളരെ രസമാണ്. അതോടൊപ്പം ഇവയോടൊപ്പം ഫോട്ടോ എടുക്കാനുള്ള അവസരവുമുണ്ട്. $25 ആണ് ഇവർ ചാർജ് ചെയ്യുന്നത്. നിങ്ങൾ മറക്കാതെ കാണുക.
So if everybody may be wondering how Boss and Piper got their name, Boss is actually named after the owner of the park. His name is Doug Boss. It's actually B-O-S, and it means forest in Dutch. And Piper, if you notice, she's speaking. It's because she's got a set of pipes on her, so she got named Piper. So this is Piper. That is Boss. Their birthday is January 9th of this year. And that being said, they are not actually brother and sister, although we might accidentally say brother or sister or refer to them as twins occasionally. That's just because our human nature, our brains just happen to state that. But they are not actually brother and sister.
How long do bears live?
Oh, that is a great question. How long do bears live? In the wild, average life expectancy for a bear is 8 years old. In captivity, black bears can live 20 plus years and brown bears can live 25 plus years. Piper, are you telling stories? You don't want them to talk, you want to offer photos with Boss and Piper. That being said, you might get Boss, you might get Piper, you might get Boss and Piper. And at any time, if they're not comfortable doing them, we are going to tell you we are not doing them. They come first. Sorry.
അപ്പോൾ നമ്മളുടെ ഈമുവിനെ ഇങ്ങനെ അത്യാവശ്യം 3 ഈമുകളുണ്ട് ഇവിടെ. റിയ, എനിക്കിഷ്ടപ്പെട്ടോ? പൊളിയാ, നന്നായിട്ടുണ്ടല്ലേ? റിയ,
എല്ലാ ഫ്രണ്ട്സ് വരിക, എൻജോയ് ചെയ്യാം.
അടിപൊളി സ്ഥലമാണ്, തകർത്തും. ഫാമിലി ആയിട്ട് വരാന് നല്ലൊരു സ്ഥലം. ഡിസ്കവറി വൈൽഡ് ലൈഫ് ഇന്നീസ് ഫെയറിൽ വരാൻ ആഗ്രഹിക്കുന്നവർക്ക് ആർക്കെങ്കിലും സംശയം ഉണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഞങ്ങൾക്ക് കമന്റ് ആയിട്ട് അയക്കാവുന്നതാണ്. ഞങ്ങൾ അത് റെസ്പോണ്ട് ചെയ്യുന്നതായിരിക്കും. അതുപോലെ ഈ വീഡിയോ ആദ്യമായിട്ട് കാണുന്നവരെ നിങ്ങൾ ദയവായി സബ്സ്ക്രൈബ് ചെയ്യുക. നിങ്ങളുടെ അഭിപ്രായങ്ങളും നിർദ്ദേശങ്ങളും കമന്റ് ചെയ്യുക. പരമാവധി ആൾക്കാരിലേക്ക് ഷെയർ ചെയ്യുക.
വീണ്ടും ഒരു വീഡിയോ ആയിട്ട് വരുന്നതായിരിക്കും. ബൈ.